Modern science maps the universe as an infinite mechanical void. Ancient cultures, however, perceived the sky as a series of nested spheres, a responsive environment that interacted directly with the observer. We often view these ancient diagrams as failed attempts at physical geography. We assume they were trying to draw the world and simply got the proportions wrong. There is another possibility. Without the technical vocabulary for signal processing or data management, these cultures used myth and sacred geometry as a compression format, a way to store complex systemic instructions within a simple story. Martin Kenny's geocentric 3D model recovers this symbolic logic. It treats the cosmic egg as a functional map of the sky's hidden mechanics, rather than a literal container floating in space. This model describes an observer safety architecture. Its primary purpose is to step down infinite cosmic data, filtering a massive field of information into a frequency that a finite human body can safely process. By decoding these symbols, we move past the idea of primitive astronomy and begin to see a coherent framework for how reality is organized and delivered to us. At the center of this geocentric model lies the routing layer. This central axis, often called Mount Meru or the magnetic north, functions as the system's core hub, distributing celestial signals across intersecting planes. Ancient traditions compressed this routing logic into the figures of messenger gods like Thoth or Mercury. These characters represented the flow of memory and information through the central pillar of the system. Surrounding the center are nested planetary spheres, acting as filtering layers, each tuned to specific cosmic frequencies. They establish jurisdictions, translating raw, overwhelming output into local rules. Here, names like Saturn or Jupiter designate functional offices, job titles for the governors managing each sphere. Instead of seeing distant rocks in a void, this model reveals a hardware system designed to sort, filter, and distribute reality to the observer. The system requires an outer limit to maintain stability, a boundary known in various traditions as the firmament, the cosmic membrane, or the ice wall. This boundary functions as a bandwidth limit. It prevents the internal system from being destroyed by the unfiltered intensity of the infinite field beyond it. Think of this shell as a transition gate. It steps down infinite cosmic order into the finite, measurable experience we recognize as our world. This explains why our scientific maps consistently fail at the furthest edges of observation. We are hitting the functional limit of the local model, the point where the translation of signals begins. This shell provides the necessary isolation to make life inside the system possible. It is a protective membrane that ensures the signals we receive remain within a survivable range. If we view these models as functional interfaces, the contradictions between global creation myths begin to vanish. Different cultures simply built their own local versions of the same universal mechanics. The Egyptian Dendera stone demonstrates this compression perfectly. Its circular layout shows how an immense volume of sky data was packed into a single diagram. The carved figures aren't just decorative, they serve as a manual for routing instructions and celestial offices. We see the same logic in the Chinese 100 schools of philosophy. Taoism focused on managing the flow of the system, while legalism defined its strict boundaries, two different interfaces describing the same routing and limit mechanics. Because this architecture is designed to filter signals for a human observer, the model effectively mirrors our own biology. The cosmic egg is an anatomical map of the human nervous system. This places the true boundary of the universe much closer than we think. It exists at the intersection where our consciousness receives and translates incoming cosmic signals. The sky is an active environment, and the ancient maps were its operating manuals. By learning to decompress these symbols, we stop looking at an empty room and start seeing the interface we are already using.